Time now for our big stat presented by Gatorade. It centers on new Penn State head football coach Matt Campbell. Already well over 100 wins as a head coach in college football. 72 of those came in the decade he led the Iowa State Cyclones, and much to my dismay, won a number of those Cyhawk games against my Hawkeyes. A three-time Big 12 Coach of the Year and the all-time wins leader for the Cyclones. That takes us to our big interview where Matt Campbell is with us on the Big Ten Network, and our guy Dave Refson was able to sit down with the new head man of the Nittany Lions.
And thrilled to have new Penn State head coach Matt Campbell with me now. Coach, let's start with this. You have had countless opportunities through the years to leave Iowa State. You always chose to stay put. What made Penn State the one that you said, hey, this is one I got to go and take?
Yeah, I think for me personally, you grew up 2.5 hours from the doorstep of this campus. And, my family is deep rooted in the state of Pennsylvania. And, this was a place where growing up in my childhood, watching Coach Paterno and what his team stood for every step of the way, you just felt a personal connection. And I think as you fast forward, and you got to meet the leadership here at this great university right now, from President Nittany to obviously Pat and what their vision for the future of Penn State football looks like. You just felt like it was the right time and the right place, and somewhere that you really aligned to the values of what this university and this football program wants to stand for moving forward.
And so now you take over, and it's obviously challenging in this day and age to take over anywhere, right? Just because we're in this time of unprecedented player movement. And so I think I would guess that part of the job at the outset is figuring out how to sell yourself to the players that are currently in the program. What have you done in terms of giving them a vision? What is the vision for what Penn State football is going to be?
Well, I think the starting point with that is you're right. It's such a unique time. And I think the first and foremost is getting an opportunity to sit down with every player in the program. And we've really spent a lot of time over the last 7 days of putting the time, effort, and energy, really getting to know who these players are, why they chose to come to Penn State, and most importantly, what is going on well within this Penn State football program. What are things that you feel like are areas of growth? And, if you had the opportunity to create change, what change would you love to see happen as this program moves forward? So, I think that was the starting point. And I think when you say, what do you want this program to be identified for and towards, I think the one great thing is there's such an unbelievable history here of what the identity of Penn State football has looked like. And I don't think we're far off to what that vision is. And that's obviously having a great understanding of the toughness that it takes to play here at Penn State, and certainly what the foundation of our former players have built on that program, both a mental and physical toughness. I think the second piece of it is certainly this great understanding of the discipline it takes to win football games in the Big Ten. And then I think last but not least, and this is what makes it really special to be a part of this great culture here, is the togetherness that it's going to take.
You mentioned history and the family, and Terry Smith obviously connects to all of that. I know you brought a lot of your staff, particularly offensive staff, with you from Iowa State, but how important was it to keep Terry, and what was kind of your pitch to him?
Well, I thought it was monumental, to be honest with you. What Terry is about, what he has stood for. What he sacrificed for this university as a player, as an assistant coach, and you certainly see what he has stood up and how he's led this football program in our last 6 football games has been incredible. And, I got to know Terry a long time ago as the head football coach at Gateway when I was at the University of Toledo, and we were recruiting his student athletes. And, I told Terry, and he knows this, you felt, a real honor when you would get one of his young men to come to your football program when he was a high school head football coach. And there would be nobody greater for me to be able to link arms with and be able to lead the future of this program with. And so the fact that it worked out is an absolute blessing. We're really grateful to be able to be great partners in this moving forward. And, his ability to understand the value, not only as a player, as a coach, that what this program's about and where we want to go forward. That's been huge for all of us.
Coach, I've had such respect through the years in watching you at Iowa State, observing the way that you built your program. And I think one of the many things that has stood out through the years is quarterback development. And we know how important that position is. And you've taken guys who weren't necessarily the highest ranked recruits, Brock Purdy, Rocco Beck, guys like that, and you have turned them into top flight college quarterbacks and guys who have NFL futures. How have you done that? Like, what's kind of your secret sauce in developing QBs?
Well, I think the starting point is there has to be an alignment to the head coach's vision of the football program, and really whoever you bring in as the quarterback to what their character, what their passion, what their work ethic looks like. I think that alignment is absolutely critical in college football and really any level of football. When the head coach and the quarterback are aligned, to me, there's a synergy that starts with the players in the locker room that's critical to the success of your football program. And, really when you look at Brock and when you look at certainly Rocco, those two young men, what they stood for, how they carried themselves, their work ethic, they wanted to be great and they had the ability to allow themselves to be coached, but they also had this unbelievable ability to unify a locker room. And I think that's one of the real critical pieces of this journey at the quarterback position is being willing to take the right person that fits you. And so that'll only continue for us. We're really fortunate we come in. Obviously, Ethan Grunkmeyer's had a great success here over the last couple weeks, in terms of what he's done and continue to build that quarterback room the right way. We're really excited about that opportunity. And again, that alignment piece has to start at the quarterback spot as you continue to build your roster and your locker room.
I mean, you look at last year, this was a team that was arguably a player or two away from playing for the national championship. And then we saw what happened at the outset of this year, and James let go. So what the goal is, what the standard is. I mean, it's playing for and winning a national championship. How much pressure do you feel coming into this job?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I really don't. I feel like for me, one of the great gifts in this is, my own journey. I feel like every step of the way has prepared me to be ready to be the coach that this program needs. And, the reality of it is the results will come if the championship habits are put in place. And again, you have alignment, you have unification to what it takes to have true success. And we'll get as our work deserves. It's my responsibility to put together the right coaching staff. It's my responsibility to create the right standards. And it's my responsibility to unify this program to continue to align itself to the goals and aspirations that we all have. But it all starts with great habits and the ability to create those habits and the ability to unify the vision and the alignment moving forward. So I really look forward to it, and what a great opportunity. I see it more as an opportunity of a lifetime and something that I'm really inspired to do.
Coach, final question for you. The bowl prep obviously well underway for your team. What are the things that you're kind of looking to glean as you observe this team getting ready for the game that Terry's going to lead them in?
Yeah, I think it's been just really honestly refreshing to be able to take a step back and to watch Terry lead this football team and how guys practice, how guys carry themselves in meetings, what the operations and the processes to prepare themselves for a game, and be able to evaluate all those things a little bit as you're trying to figure out, okay, what are the right changes and what are the right, what's the right alignment that we have to have when we come back in January. So I think I've really used this as an opportunity for me to just observe, to be an asset in terms of continue to build relationships with the people in our football building, as well as our players in our football building, and then have the ability to make the right moves and the right corrections as we get ourselves ready to go to align ourselves for a great future here as we get back in January.
Hey, Matt, this was great. Congratulations again. Welcome to the Big Ten. We're really looking forward to covering you and getting to know you here in the years to come. And thanks a lot. I know there's a lot going on. Thanks for giving us some of your time.
No problem. I really appreciate you having me, and thanks for the time.
And this week is, as Penn State tweeted out, the final game week of the season for the Nittany Lions, preparing for the Pinstripe Bowl, which, as you heard Dave and Matt referencing there, Terry Smith will lead for the Nittany Lions. That game's going to be Saturday at noon. And Yogi, it was a process, a hiring sort of cycle that played out that perhaps took a bit longer than Penn State fans were hoping for. But in the end, Matt Campbell, a really impressive hire by this organization. What stands out to you about the new Penn State head coach?
Well, a bunch. Number one, doesn't it just seem like, of course he's at Penn State. It just makes sense. Like, he just looks the part in terms of, was he the first call? Was he the last call? It doesn't really matter. He's the head coach now at Penn State. Second thing, he met with every player, and I love that. In this era, it could easily be, I'm going to bring my luggage, right? I'm going to bring my players, and you're out of here. He said no. He's got great regard for everything that Penn State is. And then I just love the question from Dave around, do you feel the pressure? And he said, no, not really. Everything in his path has led him to be able to attack this opportunity. He's got a blueprint. Nothing is going to surprise him. Will there be new wrinkles and little things here and there? Of course, in a new environment. But is a late game situational decision going to be something new for Matt Campbell? Not a chance. He's been through almost every situation you can imagine on earth in college football. And then overall, Penn State, it's a huge job. He's wanted it. And I think when you look at college football, whenever somebody can get a pseudo dream job, 2.5 hours from his doorstep of where he grew up, where his family is. I'm from Pennsylvania as well. Like, you know what that is like to go back home, go to a place that's so revered in State College. I think it's a beautiful story. And I think that Penn State's about to take that next step. I don't think they'll take a step back. And I think in the portal era, with where we sit with new coaches, that often happens. I don't think that's going to happen for this team. I'm so looking forward to watching the staff continue to come together, the portal, the roster retention, signing day eventually again in the second signing day, and then just the growth of the program under him. He's elite, man. He's a winner. You know that. Everybody knows that. And now how does he do it in this monster conference? I think he'll do well.
Some really cool images that they immediately put out just with Matt Campbell and his family taking in the majesty of Beaver Stadium and, sort of consuming that before they have to do it actually, when real things are going on, football's being played. It's a lot of fun.